Some people buy houses, others buy statements. Places so expensive they come with history, rumors, and a property tax bill that could bankrupt a small nation. These aren't just luxury homes. They're flexes in concrete, glass, and ocean views. Built by athletes, rappers, tech gods, and cultural icons who decided a regular mansion simply wasn't enough. We're counting down 10 of the most expensive luxury homes in America, owned by the rich and famous, starting with the cheap ones and ending with a property so expensive it quietly reset reality. Number 10, Dr. Dre's Brentwood Estate, approximately $40 million. This one starts with football royalty and ends with hip-hop immortality. Perched in Brentwood, this roughly 14,000 square foot estate sits on nearly 4 acres of manicured calm. The kind of calm that requires gates, cameras, and neighbors who also own private chefs. Before Dr. Dre ever stepped inside, the house belonged to Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen, which already tells you this place doesn't play in the minor leagues. The house itself moves like a quiet heavyweight. Long driveways, high hedges, a layout that spreads outward instead of upward, giving the entire property a low-slung, powerful presence. Inside, you get soaring ceilings, massive living spaces, and enough glass to make the sunlight feel personally invited. Outside, the grounds stretch wide. Pools, lawns, patios, everything spaced generously, like money was never part of the conversation. Dre bought the place for about $40 million, which somehow feels modest in this company. But that's the trick. This isn't a house that screams. It doesn't need to. It just sits there, unbothered, knowing it once housed the greatest quarterback ever, and now belongs to the man who built the sound of an entire coast. A peaceful fortress with a resume. 9. Mark Zuckerberg's Lake Tahoe compound, approximately $59 million. If you've ever wondered what happens when a tech billionaire wants a quiet getaway, this is your answer. And it's anything but small. Mark Zuckerberg didn't buy a Lake Tahoe home. He bought 2. One for about $22 million, another nearby for roughly $37 million, quietly stitching together a nearly $60 million lakeside compound that feels more like a private village than a vacation house. The setting is ridiculous. Crystal clear water, towering pines, mountains rising like they were custom ordered. The homes themselves sit low and wide, designed to blend into the landscape while still commanding it. Think huge windows, expansive decks, and views so good they feel like cheating. Every angle faces water, trees, or sky. No neighbors, no noise, no nonsense. What makes this place fascinating isn't just the money, it's the intention. Reports suggest long-term plans for additional structures, support buildings, and extreme privacy. This isn't a weekend cabin. It's a long-term retreat designed for disappearing from the internet without technically leaving Earth. It's calm, it's calculated, and it's exactly what you'd expect from someone whose idea of relaxation still involves controlling the environment down to the last detail. 8. The Weeknd's Bel Air Mansion, approximately $70 million. This house doesn't feel like a home. It feels like headquarters, the kind where creative decisions echo through hallways before they ever hit the charts. Set on roughly 1.6 acres in the hills of Bel Air, the Weeknd's mansion sprawls across an outrageous 33,000 square feet, which is the size where rooms stop being rooms and start feeling like destinations. He bought it for about $70 million, a casual upgrade from his previous place, the way most people trade in last year's phone without checking the price tag. Everything about the property leans cinematic. Corridors stretch longer than expected. Glass walls pull the city inside. From nearly every angle, Los Angeles spreads out below like a custom-installed backdrop, glowing by night, hazy by day. Inside, the house is engineered for scale. A full movie theater, a music studio built for real work, spa-level relaxation zones, and entertainment spaces that assume dozens of people will show up unannounced. Outside, the mood doesn't soften. It expands. Lawns roll outward. The pool mirrors the sky. The city lights flicker below like they're part of the design. Even when no one's there, the place feels like it's waiting for something to happen. What really sells it isn't the size, it's the atmosphere. Cool, controlled, slightly nocturnal. This isn't just where music gets made, it's where an image quietly sharpens itself. 7. Oprah's Promised Land, Montecito, approximately $90 million plus. This isn't a mansion, it's a kingdom with hedges, gates, and a sense of calm money can't usually buy. Oprah purchased her Montecito estate, known simply as the Promised Land, in 2001 for around $50 million. Since then, the property has expanded through adjacent purchases, careful upgrades, and the slow appreciation that only time and taste can provide. Today, its estimated value pushes $90 million and beyond, yet the place still refuses to feel flashy. The land rolls gently, framed by ocean views and gardens that look less landscaped and more guided. Buildings are spread out, not stacked. Paths curve instead of rushing. Every corner seems designed to lower your voice without asking. This isn't one massive house shouting for attention. It's a collection of spaces that breathe. Montecito already draws influence, CEOs, royals, cultural icons. But this estate exists above that hierarchy. It's quiet in a way that feels intentional, elegant without being ornamental. The land itself feels steady, like it knows who belongs there. This is where conversations don't get scheduled. They unfold. Where decisions aren't announced, they settle. A place built not to impress strangers, but to center someone who already owns half the conversation and doesn't need to raise their voice to keep it. If you're enjoying this countdown, tap like and subscribe. It helps more than you think. 6. Pierce Brosnan's Orchid House, Malibu, approximately $100 million. This one doesn't feel like a house, it feels like a deep exhale. Sitting directly on Malibu's broad beach, Pierce Brosnan's Orchid House stretches across roughly 12,500 square feet of calm confidence, backed by about 117 feet of pure Pacific Ocean frontage. The kind of frontage that makes the horizon feel personally assigned. Brosnan and his wife bought 2 adjacent lots back in 2000 for roughly $7 million, then spent nearly a decade building something that doesn't shout wealth. It hums it. The architecture leans Thai-inspired, low and wide, wrapped around courtyards and water features that make the house feel like it's floating instead of sitting. Teak wood floors, hand-carved doors, roof tiles imported and replaced multiple times until the color felt right. That detail alone took 3 years, which tells you everything about the mindset here. Inside, the rooms open outward constantly. Glass walls slide away, living spaces dissolve into patios. The ocean becomes part of the decor whether you asked for it or not. There are 4 main bedrooms, a separate guest house, 3 kitchens, a screening room, a saltwater pool, a spa, and enough outdoor seating to host dinner while watching surfers cut across the sunset. By the time the house hit the market years later, it was being valued near $100 million, not because of size alone, but because it's rare. Malibu beachfront is finite. You can't manufacture more coastline, and you definitely can't recreate the feeling of living inside a James Bond version of inner peace. This place doesn't flex, it meditates. 5. Bill Gates. Xanadu 2.0, Medina, Washington, approximately $130 million plus. If this house were a person, it would quietly correct your math. Bill Gates' legendary estate, known as Xanadu 2.0, sits on the edge of Lake Washington in Medina and spans a staggering 66,000 square feet. That's not a typo, 66,000. The property reportedly includes 6 kitchens, around 24 bathrooms, and enough embedded technology to make most office buildings feel outdated. Built over 7 years and continuously upgraded, the house is less of a mansion and more of a private campus. Rooms adjust lighting automatically. Temperature follows you. Walls can change artwork digitally. Guests are given wearable pins so the house knows who they are and how they like things. Imagine your house remembering you better than your friends do. Despite the size, it doesn't feel cold. The design is warm, wood-heavy, and surprisingly grounded for something that reportedly cost well over $100 million, with some estimates pushing it closer to $130 million when land, tech, and upgrades are considered. It hugs the shoreline. Windows frame the lake like paintings. Paths wind through gardens that feel curated but never stiff. There's a library with a handwritten scientific manuscript on display, a trampoline room that looks medically approved, garages that feel like showrooms. And yet, the whole thing carries a strange restraint. No gold fixtures, no theatrical excess, just relentless precision. This isn't a house built to impress guests. It's built to function perfectly. A billionaire's idea of comfort isn't indulgence, it's control. 4. Jeff Bezos' Beverly Hills, Warner Estate, approximately $165 million. This house has Hollywood bones and billionaire muscle. Jeff Bezos bought the legendary Warner Estate in Beverly Hills for about $165 million, instantly placing it among the most expensive residential purchases in U.S. history. The estate spans roughly 9 acres in the heart of Los Angeles, which already sounds illegal until you remember who signed the check. Originally tied to old-school Hollywood royalty, the property carries decades of film-era gravity. Long driveways curve through manicured lawns. Mature trees block out the outside world. Structures sit far apart, giving the land a park-like calm that feels impossible inside a city this loud. The main residence is grand without being modern. It's old-money architecture wrapped in modern security and absolute privacy. High ceilings, deep porches, rooms that feel designed for conversations that don't repeat themselves. The grounds are large enough to make walking from one end to the other feel intentional. What makes this purchase fascinating isn't just the price, it's the contrast. Bezos, the symbol of frictionless efficiency, buying a property rooted in Hollywood history, glamour, and legacy. It's not optimized, it's not minimalist, it's ceremonial. This isn't where you brainstorm startups, it's where you inherit gravity. Number 3, Larry Ellison's Woodside Estate, California, approximately $200 million. This isn't a mansion, it's a philosophy project with a zip code. Tucked into Woodside, California, Larry Ellison's estate spreads across roughly 23 acres of prime Silicon Valley land, and, depending on who's counting, it reportedly cost around $200 million to assemble, design, and build. Not buy. Build. Piece by piece, year by year, with the kind of patience only extreme wealth can afford. The property isn't Western in spirit. It's inspired by Japanese imperial architecture, modeled after a 16th century Kyoto palace, complete with koi ponds, reflecting pools, tea houses, bridges, and gardens that feel choreographed rather than landscaped. Structures are low, deliberate, and spaced far apart, forcing you to slow down as you move through them. You don't rush here. The estate won't allow it. There are multiple buildings instead of one giant one, connected by paths and water. The woodwork is obsessive. The stone placement feels intentional. Even the silence feels expensive. While most mega mansions aim to overwhelm, this one disarms. You don't walk in and gasp. You walk in and lower your voice. The interiors reportedly include traditional tatami-style rooms, minimalist design choices, and enormous open spaces that prioritize balance over spectacle. No flashy gold, no towering chandeliers, just craftsmanship that whispers, someone paid attention. The estate also includes modern comforts hidden beneath the traditional design, because of course, it does. What makes this place absurd isn't just the money, it's the restraint. Ellison could have built a glass palace screaming dominance. Instead, he built a retreat that looks like it's been there forever, quietly judging everything else for trying too hard. It's wealth that doesn't chase relevance, it simply exists. 2. Beyoncé and Jay-Z's Malibu masterpiece, approximately $200 million. This house doesn't sparkle, it broods. In 2023, Beyoncé and Jay-Z dropped roughly $200 million on a brutalist Ocean Cliff Malibu property designed by legendary architect Tadao Ando. And just like that, California real estate history blinked. The house spans approximately 30,000 square feet, carved into the landscape like it grew there instead of being built. Concrete dominates the structure. Smooth, monumental slabs, sharp lines, no excess decoration. The home feels more like a modern art installation than a celebrity residence, perched above the Pacific with views that stretch endlessly in every direction. The ocean isn't a feature here, it's the point. The property sits on several acres of cliffside land, engineered to disappear into itself. Large openings frame the horizon like gallery windows. The rooms flow inward and outward, creating a rhythm that feels intentional, almost musical. Everything is quiet, everything feels deliberate. There's luxury everywhere, but it's never obvious. High-end materials, museum-grade construction, extreme privacy. This is not a place for red carpets or loud parties. This is where silence becomes the flex. The house doesn't try to charm you, it lets you come to it. What makes this home unforgettable is how uncelebrity it feels. No theatrical fountains, no excess ornamentation, just mass, gravity, and confidence. The kind of house that assumes you already know who lives here and doesn't need to remind you. It's not just expensive, it's intimidating in the calmest way possible. Number 1. Ken Griffin's 220 Central Park South Penthouse, New York City, approximately $238 million. This isn't a home. This is a financial event that happens to have bedrooms. In 2019, hedge fund billionaire Ken Griffin purchased a penthouse at 220 Central Park South for approximately $238 million, making it the most expensive residential sale in US history. Just saying the number out loud feels inappropriate. The apartment spans roughly 24,000 square feet, spread across multiple floors, towering over Central Park like it owns the view. The building itself is a limestone skyscraper designed to feel timeless, heavy, and permanent. The kind of place that looks like it will still be there when cities change names. Griffin's unit occupies the very top, meaning uninterrupted park views, skyline views, and enough elevation to make helicopters look casual. Inside, the apartment is reportedly massive yet restrained. High ceilings, vast rooms, windows that stretch floor to ceiling, turning Central Park into a moving mural. This isn't about warmth, it's about scale. Walking through it likely feels like pacing through a private museum that happens to have plumbing. The absurdity isn't just the price, it's the math. Property taxes alone could fund public schools. Monthly maintenance fees feel like mortgage payments in other cities. And yet, for Griffin, this wasn't extravagance, it was positioning. This penthouse isn't about comfort, it's about dominance. Owning the top of one of the most prestigious addresses on Earth. It's a trophy you live inside, floating above millions of people who will never step foot inside. When you reach this level, houses stop being homes. They become statements written in stone, steel, and numbers that don't blink. And that's the list, from only $40 million to $250 million in the sky. At some point, these stop being houses and start being monuments with air conditioning. If money were no object, which one are you taking? The calm Malibu concrete, the Japanese retreat, or the penthouse above Central Park? Hit like, subscribe, and tell me below.